Hello everybody, very good evening and welcome to studyIQ IAS English. I hope everybody is doing absolutely fantastic and is ready and in fact must be waiting for this session today. So guys, as you can see, the thumbnail itself tells that medieval history is no more a tension for you. In fact, let me tell you that if you have covered our previous series on the ancient history as well as the art and culture, then you can very well understand that we are going to start another comprehensive coverage of our entire syllabus of the medieval Indian history. The basis of this particular class, that will be the old NCERT class 11th book written by Satish Chandra, who is also regarded as probably the most popular author of all the medieval history works, which are favorite among students in fact. But let me also tell you that this session will also include in fact not only the references from Upinder Singh but also the other references from some other contemporary writers whose creations are quite popular among the students. But primary emphasis will be as per Satish Chandra's book. Okay everyone? So first of all, let us proceed, but after proceeding, I'll just tell you one more thing. How many of you are confused, or how many of you are exactly able to understand the growing pattern, the changing pattern of UPSC Civil Services examination, particularly the preliminary stage of examination? In fact, most of you must have been confused. Some of your seniors might be saying, right, that what should be exactly, right, what should be exactly the way of preparation of the Indian history subject? Should it be like, suppose if you are not able to understand that, should you leave ancient history and medieval history, or should you continue studying that part despite knowing that number of questions are not as high as they used to be? Right everyone? So let me tell you a few basic things. For example, suppose if you observe that when we talk about the number of questions, okay, the number of questions, I will also show you the data for that. Number of questions over last 3 years or last 3 to 4 years, they have significantly increased. Okay, significantly increased. And those who are not able to get the context, we are talking about the number of questions from medieval history. From medieval history. Okay, not only that, in fact, if we consider the chronological sequences, for example, some of you might be thinking that we don't need to remember the date lines or the timelines of the rulers in the medieval period, it is not required. Guys, let me tell you that in the last 3 to 4 years, the UPSC is asking the questions related to the particular chronological comparison. How many of you exactly remember that they have asked about the comparison or match the following type of questions based upon the Pal dynasty, Rashtrakuta dynasty, Pratihar dynasty, about the famous rulers related to these dynasties, about the temples and their constructors? Okay, so these type of questions have been promptly asked by UPSC in previous 3 to 4 years. So that clearly indicates that there is a change in the pattern. Okay everyone, there is a significant change in the pattern over the few years. However, if we talk about the change in the pattern, so let me also tell you about our new offering to all of you, that's called P2I, or the Prelims to Interview program 2024. In this particular program, let me tell you that you will be provided the distinguished batches in the English, in the Hindi, as well as in the bilingual English medium. These batches will be having everything which is essential for any candidate to crack this examination in the very first attempt. But let me also highlight specifically that in case if you are able to clear the preliminary stage as a student of this program, you will be given an opportunity to come to Delhi, stay here, prepare the exam with other fellow candidates purely like an offline experience, but with the goodness of online medium. So That's a very significant part which is going to cost you nothing, absolutely no cost if you are a student of our P2I batch. So that's a very important thing that you must pay attention to. You can enroll in this particular batch at a very less cost of rupees 29,999 using my code ASR Live. The batches are starting 30th September 6 p.m. Now, so there is a pie chart just behind me. Good evening Vijay Lakshmi ji, very good evening Subhendu, good evening to all of you those who are live here in the class. And guys, as soon as you are joining the session, make it sure that you share this session with your friends also, so that they can also understand the significance of medieval history as per the changing pattern. Now, whenever I am making a statement in front of the students, whenever I make it, I always equip myself with certain data, certain fact or the reference. In fact, every teacher does that. Why? For example, have a look on this one. Number of questions out of 100 questions in the preliminary stage of examination. If you observe, subject-wise analysis is there. Okay. UPSC Prelims history weightage, particularly the questions of history we are talking about. We have a data since 2011, right? Why since 2011? It is because in 2011, we had introduction of CSAT. Okay, everyone? So when CSAT was introduced, remember that this introduction led to what? This introduction actually led to the experimentation by UPSC, where they started the more wider mingling of the questions. Okay, you can see number of questions actually got quite fragmented, quite scattered. They became diversified, coming across from the different subjects. However, let me tell you one more thing. Here in 2011, 11%, right? 11 questions were there, only 11 questions. Then 2012, there were 19. Okay, there were 19. Similarly, if you observe it, how many questions in 2018? 2018 had 22 questions, 17 questions, 20 questions. But now get a look from last 3 years, 2021, 22 and 23. Number of overall questions from history, they have reduced, right? The questions number that has reduced. But when we talk about that which particular portion of history, so have a look in the last 2 years, only 2022 and 2023. We just saw previously that there was average 5%, 9%, 7%, 9%, 8%, 7%. Similarly, 6.7%, 10%, 8%, almost 10, then 5, 6, 6. That means since the last 3 to 4 years, the number of questions overall from the subject history, it has remained around 7% or less than that. But in the history, look at this one. Modern history, okay, and ancient medieval plus culture. This was completely opposite. You can see here, when we talk about the 2018 question paper, which saw the maximum number, total 22 questions actually came from history part. Out of that, if we talk only history, right, only history, guys, you can see history and art and culture, right? 17.6% from history, that is a modern, okay. Art and culture, this is also including medieval, okay, also including medieval. So art and culture, that's just 7.1%. If we add medieval also, it's like hardly 8%. And this is more like 15 to 16%. Almost double number of questions were coming, right? Double or the twice number of questions were coming from the modern history as compared to the ancient medieval culture combined all together. But at present, you are able to see that Modern history is giving you just like 4 questions in 2022 and 3 questions in 2023. Whereas ancient medieval culture, that portion is giving you 11 questions in 2022 and 10 questions in 2023. Not only that, even this portion is also equally helpful when you are considering the essay part, when you are considering the part of society, the questions related to society. So we can say that this is going to be a very fruitful and very great addition to your learning. All right, everyone. Now let us talk about certain important chapters. And also we will learn that why are these chapters important. Okay, everyone. So let us proceed further. You can just see that it is actually the image taken from the index page of Satish Chandra, and we will keep this particular work, as the basis of our classes. So have a look on that. India and the world. Basically, introduction. What was going on when the so-called medieval period started? Okay, when it started, what was going on exactly? What was going on in the Europe, in the Arab, Africa, particularly the Southeast Africa? And what started the age of medieval period or age of medieval era in India? What exactly is the meaning of medieval period? That is a very, very significant thing to understand. We will try to understand that thing first. So guys, remember that this is actually the conceptual part, the conceptual learning. All right. After that, we have the chronological sequence. Okay, chronological sequence. Here you can see, particularly when we talk about the medieval period, let me just tell you one thing that guys, we are mostly concerned about the feudal system. We are concerned about the feudal system. And what is the meaning of the feudal system? Just let me tell you one thing, that when we talk about the feudal system, right now, just a second everybody. When we talk about the feudal system, right? So here it's very, very important to note that feudal system is actually when there is the decentralization of power. Decentralization of the power. And what is exactly power? How do we say, or when do we say that power has been decentralized? Remember that mainly 2 factors are there. The 2 factors which include the revenue collection. Okay, everybody, revenue collection, and the army. Army is required for the purpose of defense and law and order. Okay. So when any particular ruler, say any king, if that king distributes or deliberates his powers to collect the revenue on several people, on several representatives, suppose this is one person, okay, this is second person, and this is the third person. Now, instead of this one king, these 3 smaller rulers, they are the smaller representatives. Okay. So what will happen, that when there will be the decline of trade and commerce, right? Trade and commerce in India, and that will in fact lead to the development of local centers of power. Local centers of power. Why? Because when we talk about the decline of central trade and commerce, guys, remember one point, that it is quite possible that when an ancient empire is operating, it is easy to imagine that ancient power, due to the lack of transportation or connectivity or any type of method to manage the distant or the remote areas, what will happen? They will try to put such a system in place which will manage those remote areas effectively, and at the same time those remote areas will be connected to the central authority also. For example, have a good example here. Suppose if this is the area, right? This is the area of India, okay? And just let me tell you one thing, right? Let me tell you one thing. When we are talking about India, we will consider the entire subcontinent, okay? Entire subcontinent. And here there is a ruler. There is a ruler ruling from Pataliputra, but this ruler has got huge empire, okay? Huge empire to manage. Now tell me one thing. What will be the easiest method of ruling this area? Probably the easiest method would be when there would be the local rulers given the responsibility to rule their distinct areas. Okay? I hope you are able to understand the point that this ruler P, he deliberated his powers. Which powers? These two powers. Only these two powers were deliberated to distinct people R1, R2, R3, R4, R5. These people got the power to govern and to collect the taxes, and they were reporting to the central authority, the king P. However, after certain period, as the local authorities became more prominent, more assertive, more powerful and resourceful, what will be the reaction after that? These growing regional powers, growing regional dynasties, what will they do? They will grab the position of power. Okay, everyone? So they will basically grab this position of power. Why so? Because now eventually the central dynasty which was managing them or which was regulating them, that would not be stronger. For example, let us assume that this is the Gupta period or this is the Gupta dynasty. Okay, this is the Gupta dynasty, and Gupta dynasty rulers, they had deployed several other people. Like for example, here they had deployed Vakatakas, right? Vakatakas. Here they had deployed, for example, Kalchuris. Okay, Kalchuris. Here there were Maukhuris. Here there were Gurjar Pratihars, right? Gurjar Pratihars. Here there were, Chalukyas. That is, or we can say not Chalukyas, but we can say, right, Parmaras. Okay. Okay. Now you can just understand with this particular example. Let me just say that Gupta dynasty was ruling this entire area, and they had given the regional responsibilities to the distinguished leaders who were their subordinates. However, eventually when the Gupta dynasty started to break down or started to become weak, then what will be the consequence? This particular area which is ruled by the various dynasties, various subordinate rulers, those subordinate rulers, they will assert their authority, establish their permanent position in power over those areas which were once upon a time the subordinated regions by the Guptas. Similarly, one of these dynasties, it will grow powerful. For example, just have a look on that, right? For example, suppose this is one dynasty which has deliberated the power to the various smaller dynasties. Out of these smaller dynasties, one will be more powerful as compared to the others. This will become more powerful, and eventually what will happen? They will start ruling as the central authority over the large area, and they will also distribute their power to the various subordinate rulers. Right, everyone? So this is how the dynasties will be more and more in the numbers when it comes to the medieval period. For example, have a look on this. I will just make a flow chart for you that will be much more easier to understand. Like Gupta dynasty, okay, they had so many feudatories. For example, they had Maukhuris, okay, they had Pushyabhutis, they had Gaur, they had Gurjars, they had Maitrak, okay. When it comes to the one, so this became more powerful. Now they will have the Maukhuris, they will have the Gurjars, they will have the Maitrakas, they will have the Kalchuris. Out of that, they will become more powerful, and Gurjar Pratihars, right? Gurjar Pratihars. So they will be having like Chauhans, right? Chauhans, Kalchuris, okay, Tomars, Chandel, then Gahadwal. Right, everyone? So you are able to see that at every passing level, the number of dynasties are increasing, increasing at each of the levels, and eventually we are reaching to the Rajput period. Okay, everyone, where there are various dynasties and completely disintegrated political system. Okay, this integrated political system that was ruled by, that India was ruled over by many dynasties, right? Many dynasties simultaneously. Okay, so we can clearly understand that how would have been the development of a feudal system taken place. How would have been it occurred? So it would have occurred only due to the continuous decentralization and continuous deliberation of power from one generation to the other generation of the rulers, and those rulers, they continued to lose their central authority and increasingly became decentralized, increasingly became regionalized. Therefore, the result was that Guptas were ruling almost all over the country with the help of their subordinates, whereas the ultimate stage will be there when only in the northern India there will be, tens and twenties of the ruling dynasties spreaded from all over, ranging from Hindu Kush up to the Bay of Bengal. So this is how simple transfer of the power from central authority, which powered only two powers, revenue collection and force keeping. Revenue collection and force keeping were the two powers which were deliberated, and that resulted into the absolute decentralization, and this is the only feature which is the most crucial part of our medieval history. Our entire medieval history is actually dependent upon this specific feature. We will study that which dynasty made which contribution to our history in what manner exactly. That is what we are going to study. Okay, so have a look on this one. Chola Empire, right? Sorry, Chola Empire is there. All right. In the Chola Empire, you can see very clearly from 9th to 12th century, the Cholas were also, once upon a time, they were also the feudatories of the Pallavas, and then they emerged as the local powerful dynasty whose kings were able to spread their entire area as far as up to the Southeast Asia. Then economic and social life, right? So in the period of 800 to 1200, that means from 9th to 13th century, what were the significant features of India's different people, economy, society, etc. These chapters are very, very important. Guys, I will put a star mark on those chapters which are important here. So it is a very, very important chapter number 4th. Then there is the age of conflict, 1000 to 1200 CE. The age of conflict is there. In that age of conflict, basically, this is the formative phase where you can see the power struggle takes place. Okay, power struggle that takes place between the two legitimate challengers of each other, Rajputs and the Turks. So Rajputs and Turks, why were they fighting against each other? Because Rajputs were they were getting dominant in the northern India, whereas the areas which were sharing the border with northern India, those areas in Central Asia, there the Turks were emerging as a big power. Some of us think that Muhammad Ghori or Mahmud Ghaznavi, they were simply invaders. They were not having any kingdom, not having any area. It is absolutely wrong. They were actually the rulers of huge empires. And that empire, let me tell you, that empire did not include India. Okay, Muhammad Ghori, later on, his successors became the rulers in India, but Ghori himself had a huge kingdom in the Central Asia, and Ghaznavi had even a bigger kingdom than him in the Central Asia. Timing of the class, that is going to be 4 p.m. daily. 4 p.m. that is the timing of the class, and we will properly, we will hold these classes properly like a pure classroom. It's not going to be filled with the fun and frolic, let me tell you. So those who are the serious students, those who are literally looking for some deep analysis and serious discussion based classes, they can definitely get a lot of inputs and lot of takes from here. Okay. Then we have this particular chapter, really important. Chapter number 6 and chapter number 7, they are related to the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, Delhi Sultanate. So these two chapters, they are related to Delhi Sultanate, where in the two different parts, from 1200 to 1400 and from 1400 to next time onwards, there we study about the rule of Delhi Sultanate. So first part we will do Mamluk Sultans, second part we will do about the Khiljis and Tughlaqs. Okay everyone, these are very, very important. Particularly, let me just write down some names who are important. Iltutmish, okay, Iltutmish and Balban. These are two important rulers from the slave dynasty. Alauddin Khilji from the Khilji dynasty, and Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq from the Tughlaq dynasty, and Sikandar Lodi. Okay everyone, Sikandar Lodi from the Lodhi dynasty. Okay, so only these rulers are important. We don't need to study about each and every ruler in our preparation. Why? Because UPSC doesn't want to know about them. We just have to cover them, just while we are passing through the chapters. And otherwise, if we talk about the in-depth understanding, in-depth studies of the topics, then we will be covering Iltutmish, Balban, Khilji, Muhammad bin Firoz Shah, both Tughlaqs, and Sikandar Lodhi in particular. Okay, everyone? Now, there is a question, very serious, I think it appears to me. Then, sir, after completing any subject in question paper, the words asking is not able to understand where to study the type of vocabulary that's asking in UPSC mains question paper. Naresh, when you are talking about the vocabulary of the non-subjective terms, for that you will need to work upon your language. If that doesn't come handy, then you will have to go as per the Hindi or any regional language that you prefer. But if it is related to the subjective vocabulary, that for example, suppose there is a question in history and they are asking about the Mutazila. They are asking about Mutazila or Khanqah, or they are asking about suppose any specific period where there was a collection of Hawazil. So these type of things are more important for the preliminary purpose, not for the mains purpose. Right, everyone? So I think that your problem is related to the mains language, which is non-subjective language. For that you will need to definitely go through a lot more through the newspaper, through the good books, or through the good articles also. Okay, everyone? In fact, this is not just the problem of Naresh, but also this is a problem of many other people as well. So whenever you feel difficulty, make sure that you fight with that difficulty, otherwise it will be overpowering your ambitions. Remember that. Now guys, we have this particular policy. Look at this one. Control and agrarian policy of Alauddin, Muhammad, Tughlaq's experiments, then decline and disintegration of the Delhi Sultanate. Now these are also really important chapters, but what is more important, let me tell you, government and economic and social life under Delhi Sultanate. This chapter is very, very important. Very, very important. Alright, which is that chapter? I hope you're, I think it is the chapter number 8. Okay, chapter number 8 that is there. 8th chapter. Okay, this is chapter number 8, which is really important to understand. After that, we have the age of Vijayanagar and Bahmanids and coming of the Portuguese. Now guys, remember one point. When we talk about age of Vijayanagar and Bahmani, from that specifically Vijayanagar is actually the favorite of UPSC. Why? Because of their extensive reforms, extensive and elaborate art and architecture, and extensive impact on the people, society and culture during the rule of Krishna Dev Raya, who is regarded as one of the great rulers of the medieval period. So that is why Vijayanagar is also a really crucial topic for medieval history. Okay, everyone. After that, we have chapter number 10th. Here, the struggle for empire in the North India. This is basically the phase of disintegration. Phase of disintegration in the Sultanate. So guys, this is not very important. This is not very, very important. For the preliminary examination, you may expect one option or one term out of the entire chapter. Otherwise, that is not really important, I should say. It's not really important. But let me tell you that you should always remember, this particular concept where I just told you about the disintegration. So this is Delhi Sultanate now. Okay, Delhi Sultanate. After Delhi Sultanate, there will be the disintegrated phase where there will be Malwa, Gujarat, Jaunpur, Multan, Bengal, Sindh, different dynasties and different kingdoms. Okay. However, in that phase we will have the Mughals, right? We will have the Mughals coming along, and they will completely throw them away and establish their own rule. So therefore, we can say that in the medieval period, the disintegration was not followed by the integration of the organic dynasty. Rather, the integration was enforced by an invading dynasty, who were Mughals from Central Asia. Got it, everyone? So, when we talk about Mughals from Central Asia, they also entered into our political structure during the period of 16th century, right? During the period of 16th century. All right, everybody? Now, so I think it's visible here. So, before the arrival of the Mughals, what was going on in our society? Now, that is very, very crucial part. Look at this name, cultural development in India, right? Cultural development in India, here from the 13th to 15th century. Now, this chapter is very, very important. Very, very important. And why? Why is that chapter important? It is important because this includes the art and architecture, religious ideas and belief, Sufi and Bhakti movement, Vaishnavite movement, literature, arts, everything related to the medieval culture that is given in that chapter of cultural development. Very, very important. Probably one of the most important chapters in the medieval India, where we will take like 2 to 3 lectures to cover that. It is so much important. All right. After that, we will enter into the empire number 2, the second empire. That is the empire of Mughals. I think nowadays on the social media, we often get to hear that our history only tells about the Mughals. We only study about the Mughals. Now, I hope you got the point here that till now we have covered the ancient history, we have covered the art and culture of ancient. We never ever even talked about the Mughals. In the medieval history, however, we will talk about the Mughals, and why? Rightly so, because they had the largest empire in the entire medieval period of our country, which was spread across the entire subcontinent except some parts in the northeast, some parts in the southern India, and some parts where the Marathas were dominant. That also during the last stages or later stages of the Mughal period. Okay, everyone? So, beginning from the Babur's advent into India, Humayun's conquest, along with the Sher Shah period, and then consolidation of the Mughal Empire, this entire Mughal chapter is very important. And let me also make it very clear that we don't need to study the political history of the Mughals, that who was the son of which ruler, or the daughter of which ruler, or the wife of which ruler. These things are not important. What is important? Have a look here. Have a look at here. Administration is very important. Okay, administration is important. What is else that is important? Here, Mansabdari system and the army organization, that is important. Organization of government, that is important. Relations with Rajputs, okay, rebellions, all these things are crucial points in the Mughal chapter. We don't need to cover that who was the son of which dynasty or which ruler particular, that does not matter. Okay, that does not matter simply. After that we have the Deccan and the South India, where the Mughals were trying to make their influence, make their impact. Once again, let me make it very, very clear. The battles taking place between the Mughals and the Bahmani kingdoms, not important. This is not important. Okay, not important. However, only one topic that is crucial, that is the cultural contribution of the Deccan states. This topic is important. Wherever it comes like related to culture, etc., that's already self-understood that it will be important. Then we have India in the first half of the 17th century. Now guys, they are talking about the different or various developments in the political domain. Okay, in the political domain, political developments. Now guys, when I am talking about the political developments, like relation of Shah Jahan's rebellion against Jahangir, or foreign policy of the Mughals, or conquest of Kandahar, last phase growth of administration, in this particular chapter, only the topics which are beginning from the last phase, growth of administration, Mansabdari and Mughal army, the Mughal army. Okay, so this particular part is important. Otherwise, the entire chapter is not important. You can leave that chapter. Okay, leave means whenever in UPSC we often hear that we should leave that topic or we should not do that topic. Whenever in the preparation of UPSC we say leave that topic, which means just read that topic for once. Don't revise it multiple times. Because leave does not mean that you have to completely leave everything. Don't do that ever. You never know that from which topic, what type of question is asked, right? So that's why it's very, very essential. Then this chapter is very important. Economic and social life under Mughals. This is very important because here the author will talk about the common people of India, what were they doing, what was the zamindari system, how was the land revenue collection going on, how was the level of art and architecture. Everything will be covered in this particular topic. Okay, so chapter number 16 and chapter number 17 are very, very important. Chapter. Okay, everyone, these are very, very important chapter. Now coming to the next chapter here, chapter number 19, the second part of the climax and the disintegration of the Mughal Empire. Let me tell you that chapter number 16 and 17, they are very important, no doubt, but at the same time, chapter number 17 and 18, right, sorry, chapter number 18 and 19, these are the foundation of the modern history. Okay, foundation of modern history. So you need to understand this, right, these two chapters, not only for the purpose of medieval history questions. You will not find many questions coming from these two chapters, but you will find immense help. In fact, tremendous contributions will be there from these two chapters when you will answer any questions related to the modern history, particularly pertaining to the situation and circumstances of the 18th century. Why would there be the disintegration of the India when the Europeans will be arriving in India? That answer you will get from the reading of these two chapters. Okay, that type of question can be easily solved by the understanding of the last two chapters. Okay, so let me just once again highlight it for everyone that which chapters or which topics are important. Let me just quickly give a recap. So here, chapter number 4th is crucial. Third is also very crucial because it is related to Cholas. So in the first page you will have chapter number 3rd and 4th. After that we have chapter number 6th and 7th. Then we have some topics like the government and economic and social life under Delhi Sultanate, that is important. Vijayanagar is important. And we have the phase of disintegration, that is slightly important, not much. So we can leave this part. Only the government, economy and social life under Delhi Sultanate and Vijayanagar, these two topics, they are important. Okay. Then we have this chapter named Cultural Development in India from 13th to 15th century. This is very, very important. And at the same time, we also have the significance of Mughals. You cannot leave the Mughals initial period, which is really crucial to understand. Really crucial. And after that we have only one topic in the Deccan wala part, where cultural contribution of the Deccan states, and then we have the chapter number 15th and 16th, in which only chapter number 16th is important, not chapter number 15th. Okay, everyone? I hope it is clear to all of you. Then coming to chapter number 17 and 18. So in the chapter number 16 and 17, right, so last 4 chapters are very crucial. So first 2 chapters, last 4 chapters, and in between selected topics. So overall we can say that approximately 30-35 lectures are going to be there, where we will study about these topics one by one. Okay. So now this is your duty, your responsibility, and also your perseverance is essential, because some of the topics are going to take a great detail as well as attention from your side. So I really need all these things from you. And what will I provide to you? I will be providing you the best possible narration as well as the content from the medieval history part. So guys, make it sure that you join the Telegram channel which is there, in order to get the access to these contents or anything else which you require. You can also tell me through my Telegram channel. However, let me also tell you that in case if you are preparing and aspiring to become a civil servant in 2024, then guys, you can join our P2I batches, which are going to start from 30th September, and this is an evening batch where you will be getting the batches in the English and Hindi, these 3 medium. In fact, let me also tell you one more thing. It is like having a one-time opportunity, where you get an opportunity to prepare by staying in Delhi, by living in the Delhi along with the students, like an offline class, but that is only allowed to those students, those who are able to clear the prelims examination with our guidance program here, right? So let me tell you that for making sure that you clear the preliminary examination, we provide you every possible assistance, be it the handwritten notes, be it the one-to-one mentorship, be it the practice test papers for the preliminary as well as the mains examination, and at the same time daily current affair programs as well as the weekly test, etc. They are also conducted. Once you clear the prelims stage, then you get an opportunity to come Delhi, and when you are called to Delhi at studyIQ campus, you stay here, you get your food and your lodging, everything. Apart from that, you are also getting the classes daily, and the module based program is there, which is called as the mains residential program, exclusively for our students. You can imagine very well that what does it cost to stay in Delhi just for preparation. But we are actually giving you everything at this minimal cost of rupees 29,999. Given that you use my code ASR live, then you are going to gain all these facilities. So I hope that you will not miss such an opportunity. Join our batches which are starting from 30th September. Thank you so much for watching it, and make sure that you share this class with your friends, so that tomorrow, remember that, what is the timing tomorrow? Timings are daily, okay, daily 4 p.m. Okay, daily 4 p.m. that is the timing. So remember that timing. Let's meet tomorrow. Till then, take care guys. Bye-bye and Jai Hind.